Today we're going to be doing mason jars, decorating mason jars. So the end product is going to look like this. And I went ahead and picked the Green Bay Packers because I'm from Wisconsin, so I wanted to show a little Wisconsin pride. So what I did was, this is an actual mason jar that I'm going to show you how to paint and then adhere the fabric to the mason jar. So what we're going to need today is a brush, your mason jar that you're going to be painting, and you can pick mason jars up from Walmart, Costco, Target, grocery stores. Then you are going to need a pair of scissors, and then I have a smaller scissors for detailed cutting, the fabric in which you're going to use, the paint, and I like the Martha Stewart collection. I have tried every kind of paint that you can think of, and right now I probably have the different types that you can find at Michael's. I have now upgraded to the gold status at Michael's because I have tried every different thing. So hopefully this is going to help you and you won't have to do what I have done. Then I also have Mod Podge. This can be found pretty much at any craft store. So we'll go ahead and put that aside. We're going to go ahead and start painting our mason jars. So just shake up your paint, and I went ahead and bought a little thing to put your paint in. I'm going to take my brush, and it is a 1-inch brush. Just go ahead, get that paint on there. Make sure you wipe off the jar prior to painting, and you're just going to start applying the paint to the jar. Now this is an angled brush, so that way I can get into the top part here, and I am just applying that paint on there. Now this is a little bit thicker paint. I found that Martha Stewart's collection is a little bit thicker. The other thing that I have noticed is to get it in a satin finish. That way when it dries, at least for this project, it doesn't have that matte look and it's not as dusty. It doesn't have that dust look. Now there are some projects that you will want that look, but not with this project today. So I am actually just painting it down and going in lighter strokes, getting the paint on the brush and continuing to just brush. Now, you can go the long way, but then I would suggest that you went ahead and cut in here, kind of like you're painting the wall, and then come down, but I like to go sideways. I am not one that has a lot of patience, so the quicker we go, the better off I am. So what I'm going to do is, I showed you this step, so make it quick, and you'll want to go all the way around. Let it dry for about an hour. Come back to it. Now you can put 2 coats on. I normally do 1 coat. So pretend like it's been an hour. Now you have your jar. So your jar looks like this. Really easy way to do it is paint all your jars if you want to do projects for your kids, gifts for people, great holiday gifts, inexpensive. Paint all your jars, put them aside, come back the next day or a couple days later. So have your jar. Now what we're going to do is grab your fabric, and I got this fabric. I bought it, actually I had to go online to get it because the Packers did so well, so the fabrics are really hard, but there's different kinds of fabric. You can use it in Hello Kitty, you can use Christmas, there's so many different things that you can do. I went ahead and got a yard of the fabric, and I chose patterns that were a little bit bigger so I could go ahead and cut into them, and that's where the little scissors comes in. So after I have cut, they end up looking like this. So if you noticed, I went from big fabric, and I do this sitting down, watching TV, watching the kids, it's a great way to pass time while you're at football practice with your kids, basketball, anything that moms, you're just sitting there and you're just in a daze and you're wondering, oh, I could be at home, I could be cleaning. Well, now you can be cutting out your Christmas projects and your holiday gifts. So they end up looking like this. Okay? So I've cut them into 3 different pieces. I've got the small G, the helmet, and then the Packers sign. So I go ahead, put those aside. And if you go ahead and get them set up in advance, your project, once again, has an easier way of going. So now I've got my sponge brush. You can pick these up for really, they're not that much. And you can go ahead and get them at the Dollar Tree, Dollar Store, Michael's, any craft store. So what I'm doing is, just like we painted, I am brushing on all over. Because what the Mod Podge is going to do is this is going to help adhere that fabric that you have for the project. So I'm going ahead and I'm getting this on. Now I have tried it different ways. This is gonna dry clear, and the Mod Podge that I have is a satin luster finish, so it's gonna help with that little shine. Now keep in mind, if it does have a lot of bubbles in it, you are going to find that when it dries, it is going to have that look of glue. So that's not the goal here. We want it to be just clear. Okay. So now that I have that on there, my little pre-cut pieces of fabric, what I have found is if you take that fabric, and I have a little tray, dip it in some water. That way, when you're adhering it to the actual jar, there's not as many bubbles in it. So then I just take a little bit of that Mod Podge that I put in a little container, and I just brush it on the back of it. Because it's wet, it's going to adhere. So I want to make sure that I find the middle of the jar, and I go ahead, and this way I can kind of move it around. Then my other piece was wet, and I had pre-soaked, I shouldn't say really pre-soaked, but I had put a lot of the pieces of fabric, I put them in water prior, just dipped them in the water and pulled them out. That way when I was ready to do multiple jars, I could they were already wet. So, see, all I'm doing is putting them on. Now, I did put a little bit of the Mod Podge on, so if you take a look, I'm just dabbing it on, and then I lightly stroke it across, and all I'm doing is trying to make sure that all of the glue is in there, and that it doesn't bubble, and that it doesn't come off. So, got that. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my big G, my helmet on. I'm putting a little bit of the glue on the back. There we are. I'm going to stick this puppy on the back of there. Kind of use my fingers. You can kind of play by ear. I mean, this is not set in stone. You know that you have to do it and apply it. You can always just kind of use your own technique. You're going to follow the same simple rules, but how I'm touching it with my fingers, you can go ahead and do that. Now these make great gifts for teachers. You know that is the holiday season, and a lot of us are on a budget, and we want to really cut back on our spending, but we still want to be able to show our appreciation to those volunteers, teachers, people who are special, the mailman, the mail lady, you've got a pool person, anybody that's really helping you out. You want to show, hey, you know, I just really appreciate you, and you don't have a lot of money to do it. Well, this is a really easy way. So, now that I have that, it's all done. Wasn't that hard? I'm going to let this dry. This probably takes about half an hour. So I'm going to show you the finished part of that. Now, it's done. And if I look at it, it's all clear, it's shiny. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece, I'm going to cut a piece of the fabric. This is for the top. I cut them in 6x6 pieces. And all I'm doing is now I'm going to fold it up, my 6x6. So you just fold it and then fold it again. And then what I did was I took a pair of the ridged scissors. These are some of the fancier scissors. But you can go ahead and use a regular fabric scissors. And I'm going to round out the piece. Now this is for the top. So just rounding it out. And you can do whatever it is that you want to do for the top piece. You can cut it how you want. So, taking the top piece that I just cut, you stick the top underneath there, and you place it on top. Then you're going to take your lid, and you're just going to screw it on there, and look at that. Finished product. This is a great way to show your pride for any team. It's a great gift, and then you can put inside anything that you want. You can put a candle, one of those battery operated candles. You can even take the top off if you want to. Take the top off and just have a lid as such. You can put silverware in here for a tailgate party if you're having a holiday party at your house. Put forks, silverware, or any kind of utensil in here. You can put flowers, you can put pencils. There's so many different ideas that you can use with this. So thanks, hope that helped.